welcome to Butlins Minehead, and this is the semi-final stages of the Coral UK Open, brought to you by the Professional Darts Corporation and live on ITV Sport. Well, it's time now to meet our semi-finalists. Would you please welcome, into his first ever televised semi-final, it's David Pallet. And ladies and gentlemen, the former two-time back-to-back champion of the world, the Flying Scotsman, Gary Anderson.
Well, these players met in a qualifier for this event, with the Scotsman winning 6-3. Tonight, it is the first 2-11 to reach the final. Now, behind the mics to guide us through the match, Chris Mason, and good evening, John Rawling.
Good evening, Jackie. Good evening, everybody. Gary Anderson here has never lost to Dave Pallet. Stands 3-0 overall. Gary has been getting back somewhere towards the form of which we know that he's capable. At times this weekend he's thrown beautifully. He's had that back problem, but he's been seeing an osteopath, and he is throwing with greater freedom and a better rhythm than he has for some time. And a list of players who've tried to beat him here have felt the effects of that. Well, Dave Pallet, as you've heard, 28 years old. Best ever TV run for David. John Archer, his manager, is of the same group as Robert Cross, and indeed as Ricky Evans, both of whom were beaten by Gary Anderson.
Yeah, there might be something in that. But yeah, Gary's been very, very good at times. Tournament average of just under 100.
Game on!
No paying fans are here.
94.
I think that's a few of the Coral lads that we hear to do the on-site bookmakers, I do believe.
Yeah, they're down there on the front row. So if you see any signs or notes or 180s or whatever, if you had been hoping to be down here, don't think that the public's been allowed in, because that is not the case.
No, everyone here is either part of a player's entourage or staff.
Decision taken by Butlins as a result of the bad weather. PDC taking the decision
93.
that the competition, with all the players, or virtually all the players, having made it down here, the competition should go ahead, which indeed it has. Gary Anderson with the darts,
39.
already with the advantage in this opening leg. He always makes, or often makes, a big thing about the fact that he doesn't practice a deal, Gary, but he's had Ian White and Michael Smith down at his house working in the run-up to this, and he's managed to fit in a few exhibitions.
Always fits in a few exhibitions.
132.
Hugely popular up and down the country. Fortunate enough, I do a fair few shows
140.
with Gary. Newcastle Masters coming up.
170 can be done. Not now.
Played Super League with David in the West Midlands for a couple of seasons when he was a young lad.
Tops now.
30. David, you require 70.
Looking at treble 18. 20 or 12, now double 16.
Game show.
Opening leg and a break for David Pallet.
Conventional finish.
Game on.
Unusual for David. He has his own way of going.
His first ever televised semi-final.
42.
And he's beaten two former champions this weekend. Only reached two semi-finals on the PDC Pro Tour previously, one this year and one back in 2015. Quietly spoken, likeable lad. I was having a chat with him earlier on, and he's thoroughly enjoying the experience. The others were were joking with him. Do you know Gary Anderson? You ever met him? Know anything about him?
60.
I think he knows only too well what Gary's capable of.
We'll do in about 10 minutes.
45.
Badly needs to hold on to his throw, having had the early boost of taking the break of throw.
100.
Well, when Gary's just not quite on it is when you've got to take advantage.
Yeah, and you can guarantee that in the space of a match of 21 legs, Gary Anderson sooner or later will start to flow. But that's a good visit by Pallet.
Oh, against Cross, he had a period where he was very flat, and then all of a sudden hit the boost button.
Well, he was kind of scrapping, wasn't he? Hanging in there. I mean, Rob was out throwing him in the early stages, and Gary somehow, despite being heavily outscored, managed to stay on parity. It was, what was it, 5-4, and then he just blasted the final 6 legs.
Yeah, 6 on the spin against Cross is no mean feat.
102 for 2-0.
Chance to possibly break straight back for Anderson if Pallet doesn't take this out.
70.
Good last start.
Yep, left double 16.
Tops. And that's the break back, and it's 1-1.
Anderson. Third leg, Gary to throw first. Game on.
When you think the pain that Gary was in, the discomfort when we were in Milton Keynes, what, a month ago, isn't it?
Yep.
You know, he was having to play in a corset of some sort, wasn't
Yes,
he?
yeah, just to support the shoulder.
Yeah, he was in a really bad way.
Well, he was on the verge, possibly pulling out the Premier League and the remainder of the tournaments, but he went to see a new specialist who's put him back together.
60.
Whatever the specialist is doing, it's clearly working. Not hitting the big numbers yet, either of them actually. Gary averaging just 82,
60.
and David at less than that, 77 at this stage. Early days. That will go up, you can guarantee.
137.
Last time they played, I think Jackie was telling you that Gary Anderson, but last month, in fact, he beat him 6-3.
46.
David Pallet. That's their most recent meeting. First
Qualifiers for this one?
It was, yeah. And first time was in the UK Open in 2014, and Gary won 9-5.
First 180 for Pallet.
Russ Bray is your referee, as you probably realised.
Unmistakable roar of 180.
If your television volume's off, you'll probably hear him anyway.
43. Gary requires.
So 68 for 2-1. 16 tops then.
48. David requires 64.
This would hurt, Gary.
3 break of throws. It's usually a sign of a poor game, and this one is so far.
Good dart. Nothing wrong with that.
Not missed a double yet. 2 from 2.
Fourth leg, David to throw first. Game on.
And he's ahead again.
$85.
All coming against the throw. There's the first maximum for Gary Anderson. And you'd suspect the first of several.
100.
Russ Bray roaring away despite the lack of crowd. He'll up the level and the histrionics
60.
when it gets a bit more tense later in the match. Just a bit understated at the minute.
Very much like this game.
100.
Yeah, fair to say it's not caught fire yet.
Simmering.
Are we going to get another break of throw?
100.
Anderson first to a finish. David Pallet could do with a ton 40 here.
95.
Oh, that's not too bad. 1-2-1.
161 makeable, not now. So, Pallet 1-2-1.
93. David,
You go this in the conventional manner?
No, treble 17. Oh, he's changed his mind. He looked down. So, treble 17 ball.
53.
Gary Anderson 68 for the break of throw. Pallet waiting on the same number. Tops now. The
48.
Flying Scotsman is not flying
David
yet.
requires 68.
Double 4.
Could have a hold of throw.
Game shot.
My word. We
David
have
Pallet,
precisely
keep
that.
playing, Gary.
It's 3-1 Pallet. And a break at the end of the next leg.
1.
Upset him now.
He plays better when he's got a bee in his bonnet.
Another bit of a bee in his bonnet about just throwing, by his standards, fairly ordinary darts so far.
40.
Yeah, he's not a happy camper.
There's always going to be a question. I hate to harp on about the back issue, Chris, but it was always a question. You know, Gary was the favourite with the bookies, and indeed he is now. I gather that he was something like 2-1 on prior to this. It was always going to be a question about whether his back would hold up to 3 matches in one day.
94.
Yeah, we were all a bit concerned of that, but there's actually no evidence it's causing him any pain at all. When we saw him at Milton Keynes, you could say the full extension at the end of the release, there was actually a reaction because of the pain, which we believe to be a trapped nerve.
Oh, this is more like it.
171.
Great setup, brilliant.
Double 8 left. Perfect visit. We'll go into the break. You would think just one leg behind.
64.
But
Gary
with the break of
requires
throw
16.
in Pallet's favour,
Game
and there it
shot,
is.
fifth leg.
The double 8
Gary
neatly
Anderson.
slotted away by Gary Anderson. 2 out of 5 for him. But David Pallet with the break of throw, he'll come back with the darts and leading the hot favourite 3-2. Pallet 3-2 as Ricky Evans on the left-hand side and Stephen Bunting. Oh, they make a handsome pair. Pallet for the jungle.
Or Strictly.
Oh yeah, well why not? He needs a nickname, by the way. If anybody out there has got a good idea for him, for a darting nickname for a man who once upon a time did a bit of accounting. And don't say tax dodge or something like that. That's not. Need a bit more than that.
Game on.
Why not send us your suggestions by Twitter, and we'll see if we can give out 1 or 2 of the more amusing ones.
What's your Twitter, John?
59.
At John Rawling.
There we go.
At ITV Sport is another one you could use, or of course the one which millions seem to follow. What is it?
60.
Chris Mason. Chris 180 Mason, isn't it? I beg your pardon.
Love me social media.
59.
So I hear. And a bit of pugilism. Good darts. He's thrown really well this weekend, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's looking very comfortable.
99. David requires
Big cushion in this leg. 1-2-1.
No finish now, though.
85 leaves 36.
45.
Well, that's...
Gary needs a 180 here.
he might just get it. Well, that's a bit unlucky. Just kissed off the barrel, having to work along the ocky.
100. David requires 76.
Still 6 starts then for Pallet, 76.
36.
Still got time though, get at least another 3.
100. David requires
So
40.
tops.
For full 2.
3 out of 4 he's had on his doubles, make that 5. 6, double 5.
35.
Ouch.
Made a mess of
Gary
that.
require 84.
What a chance for Anderson. 14 ball.
Bullseye then.
59. David requires
Scared it.
5.
Double 2 for 4-2.
Game
Good dance.
start in the 6th leg. David Pallet, 7
Somehow
players.
went
Gary
in.
to throw first. $96.
First to 11, remember,
85.
to take a place in the final.
96. $42.
That's a poor visit. He's going to get rid of the 19s first.
101.
Pallet is some 8 points behind on the averages.
41.
80 playing Gary's 88.72. Fortunately, it's not affecting who can
140.
potentially win this match. He can win this comfortably being 10 points behind because they're
100. Gary
pretty much
requires
taking the
60.
same amount of visits in each leg.
Game
Double
shot
4
on the 7th
puts it
leg.
away for Gary Anderson.
Gary Anderson, 8 leg
And a
David
hold of throw.
first.
And
Game
now
on.
looking to attack the Pallet throw once more.
We'll be exploring everything. Averages, numbers, stats, percentages
140.
between the after the second semi-final and the final itself. There's a
59.
20-minute break.
That's going to be to the advantage of whoever wins this match, isn't it? Because you've got Corey Cadby and Robert Owen coming on after this, and it's a
57.
pretty quick change
Yes,
round.
the turner. Yeah, you think when you're hanging around waiting, it seems to take forever. But if you've just played, it soon hurries
140.
around, and you've got to get yourself back up and switched on.
Good dance again. Anderson, twice world champion in 2015
96.
and 2016.
164.
And there's the current world champion, Rob Cross.
Enjoying a bit of dance. Thinking to himself, well, Gary, you didn't play like this against me.
92. $93.
72 then for 5-3. Double 6.
Game shot.
nicely done.
Disappointed me so far. Normally he's very unconventional. He takes some strange shots out, but so far,
85.
all by the book.
Whatever you fancy, isn't it? It's a
Yep,
mood game to a significant extent.
absolutely.
60.
All sorts of options, aren't there, on that number?
Oh, 72, yeah. 48, 24, 36, 36.
140.
Double 18, double 18.
Maybe an exhibition.
120.
He's had 2 maximums, the third dart going somewhat awry there. Anderson picking up his third 180.
180.
Good response.
140. Gary, you require 96.
But no finish, so no pressure on this. He thought it was in, he was walking.
87.
But he'll get another go. 176 Pallet, no checkout, of course.
60. Gary, you
Oh,
require
144.
9.
4-4 it is.
Game shot on the 9th leg.
And 5-4, a hold of throw.
10th leg, 10
Still, it's
first.
advantage Pallet, and another break at the end of this leg. Can Anderson get back onto level terms? He was 5-4 down, wasn't he, against Rob Cross?
Yep,
57.
then reeled off 6 on the spin.
And he was only averaging...
98 was his end average.
Yeah, well, he was. I seem to remember at that point he was round about
90.
where he is now,
Yeah.
sort of low 90s, and then he started just walloping the huge numbers, and
Yeah,
and it was all over for Rob.
he had a good streak. Rob's average came down. Anderson's went up.
Is he doing the same again now? That's maximum number 4. And it could well be that we are going to go to the break at 5 apiece.
43.
Long way ahead now. 80 plus whatever happens here.
41.
Not a lot. But 140 a finish. Pallet could do with a 140 here.
140, 180. He goes big favourite for the leg. He's thinking about switching.
Treble 20 he wants, surely.
100.
Oh,
Gary, you require
so close.
140.
Straight ton. Will leave tops.
60.
Under trouble.
David
Right,
require
161 for
161.
6-4 for a hold of throw. Unlucky, just the wrong side of the wire.
135.
Good visit,
Gary require
good
80.
throwing. Tops then for Anderson, 4-5 all for the break of throw.
Game
And he's
shot
got
on
it.
the 10th leg.
Game
Gary
on now.
Anderson.
Level pegging, and the favourite back onto level terms. It's David Pallet 5, Gary Anderson 5. Imaginative one, isn't it? Paint Pot, Timmy Pallet, interesting one. Woody, The Prophet with an F, that's quite a good one. The Estimator, the Number Cruncher, the Wallet. What do you reckon, Chris?
First, game on.
Some fairly random ones, and certainly some I'm not prepared to read out on air.
60.
That was always going to be. It was always going to be a possibility that you get one or two of those. You ask for a bit of interaction on social media, and it can happen.
140.
Is Anderson going to be able to hit the blue touch paper?
140.
Be encouraged after winning that leg just before the break to get us back to parity and 5 apiece. It's now well, effectively a best of 11, isn't it?
Yep.
First to 11 legs.
121.
Still just outscoring David.
Yes.
94 to 87, roughly.
4 180s to Pallet's 2, 8 140s to Pallet's 7. Not much on the doubles percentage either. 45 for Gary and 50 for David Pallet.
140.
Close match, close in stats.
140. David, you require 140.
Nice setup by Gary. Tops when he comes back. 124 now. Big ask. Treble 18 has to go. No. So Gary Anderson
42.
to go ahead in the
Gary,
match.
you require 40.
For the first time.
Game Shania, 11th
Finds
leg.
it at the third
Gary
time of
Anderson,
asking.
12th leg, David to throw.
And gets his nose ahead. When you're in this sort of situation on the practice board, as Corey can be and Robert Owen will be, you keep one eye on it.
Yeah, there's usually a couple of monitors in the practice area, not necessarily with the sound on,
96.
and they'll just keep an eye on it. More for the progress of the match to sort of try and judge exactly what time they'll be doing the walk on.
40.
Pallet moving along well. 6 darts to 221. And adding powerfully with his third maximum.
80.
Really the ultimate reply.
41. Nine score.
Well, that was about as close as you can be, but he'll have another go. Anderson, no finish, but he can heap the pressure on, as he is doing. You could kind of,
71.
as an accountant, you'd have put a bit of money on that.
Interesting to leave double 7.
Game
On the
shot,
dot.
12th leg. David Pallet,
6 all.
13th leg. Gary to throw first. Game on.
Experience will play a huge part in the remainder of this match.
96.
Anderson been there so many times and done it. Got the T-shirt, read the book.
56.
He's trying to an extent, David, reinvent himself as a darts player, losing his card.
140.
And now, well, he's moved his location and he's trying to make it altogether a more serious, full-time professional job, and he's increasing his practice, and it's already reaping dividends.
Oh, we heard from Jackie, didn't we? There's 4 hours in the morning. He goes off and has a 4-hour session, practice session with Ricky Evans.
95.
It's a formidable practice routine if he's doing that regularly.
I think my elbow would fall off.
92.
Tops for Anderson. Nice setup again.
Anderson doesn't practice at all.
Sparingly, I think, is the way of saying.
Gary, you require 40.
He's kind of he's a natural, isn't he? For those in longer memories, he's kind of
Game
oh, good
shot
dart.
on the
Good
13th
dart.
Well, the myth says his first ever throw, he hit 180.
14th leg, David to throw
Really?
first.
Yeah.
He's kind of a natural, like in snooker terms. You know, good old Willie Thorne. He was a natural, wasn't he?
Happy birthday, Willie.
Maximum for David Pallet, number 4.
58.
No more so like a Jimmy White, I suppose. He was what they deem very natural, but he's so busy and he's playing so many tournaments. I suppose he doesn't need to practice.
And so many exhibitions,
Yes.
as you've already alluded to. Plays the support act to C. Mason.
Pretty sure that they don't come to see me when I'm doing a show with Gary.
Good darts, lovely cover shots.
If they can beat me, they got no chance of getting anywhere near Gary.
Keeping his form together.
He's thrown very well on throw, hasn't he?
He has I mean, the question's going to come, isn't it, as he comes closer to the winning point, and whether or not the nerve will hold, because he's in uncharted territory.
Yeah, a few of them moments will no doubt arise in this match. The minerals will be tested.
You like that phrase, don't you?
Mm.
David
68.
68.
Good dart, double 4. Brilliant.
Yeah,
Well played, David Pallet.
David Pallet, 15th leg, Gary to throw first.
7-all.
/60.
Break at the end of this leg. Puts a lot on it. And not a good start by Gary Anderson.
100. $99.
Well, an outside chance for Pallet to try and pinch the throw.
Do the treble here.
Not a lot of room there, is there?
60.
Did up in Scotland. There was a big fundraiser, and a man from your other sport was up there, Josh Taylor.
Nice lad.
Yeah,
good
lovely.
fighter as well.
Yeah, absolutely darts mad.
140.
Won last night, so if you're watching, congratulations.
140.
Gary Anderson on 80. Looking to take a narrow lead again as they go into this next interval.
80.
Treble 20 is looking at. Well, another of those. Now tops. And nicely done.
15th leg.
Made what was a difficult situation look extremely easy there, Gary Anderson. And getting the checkout that he wanted and leaving the stage winning 8-7. Seven. David Pallet will have the darts when they resume. We've had a load of suggestions about potential nicknames for David. He's not got one at the moment. And we've had a pretty good one sent in by a guy called Martin Johnson, who suggested the Liquidator, combining his financial background with the anthem of his fellow long-suffering Wolverhampton Wanderers fans. It's quite a good one, isn't it?
Doing well, aren't they, Wolves?
They are at the moment. Top of the
Jackie's
championship.
mentioned it one or two times.
I try to block it out, being a Sheffield United supporter, and we're not quite doing it. Just about clinging on to the playoffs.
99.
Go and thrash Fulham on Tuesday night. That'll make us feel better. Don't think that's going to happen. You never know, though.
48.
Gary Anderson averaging just shy of 96. David Pallet almost exactly 90.
60. 59.
Frustrating this will be for Pallet, especially when he watches it back, because if he does go on to lose this match,
100.
Gary looks vulnerable in this one.
He looks a little bit flat, doesn't he, for whatever reason?
58.
That's where you do miss the crowd to give you that lift.
164, just looking to set it up. Needs a treble. Can't find one now. If Gary gets a ton 40 here, it'll be interesting.
First to 11 legs. Replacing the final.
135.
Corey Cadby. Robert Owen is up next.
Needs a treble 20 for Shanghai. No. So Anderson to return. 105. This would be for a break of throw.
15 for tops.
Beautifully done. On such moments,
Great timing.
You can see the look of resignation and pain on the face of David Pallet, and great timing for Gary Anderson. 9-7, and suddenly he only needs 2 more legs. And he looks a very warm favourite now, doesn't he? And he moves on with that.
More like it. We come to expect from Gary. As you've said, the former back-to-back and 2-time champion of the world.
Wonder if he's got another one in him. He'd like to think so, I'm sure.
Well, I think we've seen
85.
examples of that over the last 3 days that, in my opinion, he certainly has.
100.
Played quite brilliantly yesterday. And then in the latter stages of his match against Rob Cross, also
55.
playing well. Is that red on the 5? Is it not blood, is it?
Well, the wires are literally razor sharp, so you can often just, when you're taking your darts, you can just nick your finger. So I should imagine that's exactly what's happened.
From my other life, I've got a good eye for a bit of blood. Yep, there it is. We think.
100.
Might be a bit of Gary Anderson blood. Get some DNA on that and see if we can sort it out.
60. Gary, you require 84.
Right, 84, Gary Anderson. Double 8, good dart.
76. 100.
So,
Gary, you require 8.
double 4 to move within a leg.
Game show on the 17th leg.
Doubles have served in pretty well, 10 out of 21, 48%, averaging over 95. And David Pallet, well, Gary's just found where the old accelerator is, hasn't he?
Yep.
100.
Gary's partner, Rachel, didn't make the short trip down.
100.
Down with the kids. I'm sure Ty is glued to the TV, watching his pops do the business.
If he wins it, who do you think he's going to be playing?
100.
Corey Cadby's impressed, hasn't he, this weekend?
Yeah, his temperament's it's improved so much, maturing into the player we anticipated.
Well, with all apologies to the friends and followers of Robert Owen, who's had a very good weekend and has thrown very solidly.
Yes,
I think a lot of people out there would be hoping that it is going to be an Anderson-Cadby final.
58.
The old star against the new one.
Be quite tasty, that. Robert Owen, I'm sure, has other ideas.
Well, he's thrown well. He's had a terrific weekend.
Yes.
60.
I was very impressed. First time I've seen him in the flesh.
Had a very good
Playing.
win against Ian White, didn't he?
Yes. He come through a few squeakers. 10-9.
94. David require 141.
So 141 can't be done. So Gary Anderson can finish the match on his next visit.
Well, it's 96 left.
Good dart.
Great third dart.
Gary require 150.
So for the match.
Oh, great
treble,
first.
Treble 18. Tops. Oh,
134.
Just the wrong side of the wire.
David require 36.
David Pallet simply has to take this one out. 15 darts so far. Double 18, double 9. Gave it a good go with the
Gary
last dart.
Gary wants 20. Hates double 10. Never hits it.
Gary Anderson ultimately winning fairly comfortably. Didn't have to get into absolutely top gear, but he's taken his place in the final. Good performance over the weekend by David Pallet, somebody of whom I'm sure we will see more in the future. Gary Anderson into the final. Who's it to be? Owen or Cadby? That'll be next. But Gary Anderson wins 11-7. David Pallet doesn't want to get off the stage.